person who cannot stop performing threat is the one you learn to watch. The one whose anger is immediate, whose posture changes, whose voice carries the warning before the words do. You learn this early. You learn it because it is learnable. The response is visible. The pattern repeats. You build a system around it. But the person who does not perform is the one you never build a system for. This is the first split. The loud one teaches you what danger looks like. They teach you so thoroughly that danger becomes synonymous with noise, with visibility, with the demand for attention. You do not notice that you are being trained in a single direction. You only notice that you feel prepared. The loudest person in the room is a decoy. You watch them because their threat is obvious. You can measure it. You can prepare for it. Their certainty is a performance you understand. But the quiet one is the problem. The one who says nothing. The one whose face does not change when you push. They watch you the way a coroner watches a body. With patience. With interest. Without urgency. That stillness is not peace. It is compression. Every word they do not say is a calculation they are finishing before you have even started. You turn to the loud one because they are predictable. Their energy is a release valve. Certainty, even when it is wrong, feels safer than silence. You are thinking of someone else right now. That is the protection. It is working. But the silent one is the one who will hold the line when the loud one breaks. They do not need your approval to act. They have already considered the worst outcome and decided it is acceptable. You do not turn to them because they do not perform safety for you. When the real problem arrives, the loud one will look for them first. This pattern begins in childhood because childhood is where loudness gets managed. The child who explodes is the child who gets intervention. The child who withdraws is the child who gets left alone. Alone becomes functional. Alone becomes strategy. The quiet child learns that visibility is cost. They learn that their survival does not depend on being understood. It depends on being overlooked, until the moment of maximum advantage. The evolutionary mechanism underneath this is older than the family. It is the mechanism of the ambush predator versus the display predator. The display predator wants you to know it is there. The energy cost of the display is traded for reduced pursuit cost. The ambush predator wants you to forget the possibility of threat until forward motion is no longer possible. Both strategies work, but the human animal is trained by culture to recognize only one of them. The loud one fits the story of conflict. The quiet one does not fit any story until the story is over. In practice, this looks like the email that gets written 3 times and never sent. The conversation rehearsed in the shower, constructed with perfect sentences, delivered to no one. The decision made and unmade and made again without execution. The person who knows exactly what they would say if they ever said it. The person who has already ended the relationship in every way except the one way that would make it real. At work, it is the colleague who never argues in meetings, who takes notes while others perform disagreement, who, 6 months later, is in a position to describe what actually happened, who does not need to raise their voice because they have already documented the pattern, who you remember, too late, was present for every moment you forgot they were there. In relationships, it is the partner who does not fight back, who goes quiet, who you mistake for passive, for accommodating, for safe. The quiet is not accommodation. It is the withholding of information you would need if you were going to defend yourself. They are not giving you what you want. They are not giving you anything that could be used against them later. The stillness is not emptiness. It is evidence preservation. The intelligent person's version of this pattern is the most difficult to witness. They have language. They have frameworks. They can describe, with precision, the dynamic they are participating in. They can tell you why they are not speaking. They can tell you what the speaking would cost. They can tell you about attachment styles and nervous system regulation and the value of contemplative distance. What they cannot do is act against the pattern. The intelligence becomes part of the architecture of the stillness. It does not dissolve it. The high achievers version is different in appearance only. They are loud in every domain except the one that matters. They perform confidence in arenas where confidence is already measured and rewarded. They are silent in the arena where something real could be lost. You see them command rooms. You do not see them avoid the single conversation that would undo the identity they have constructed. The achievement is not the opposite of the pattern. It is the displacement of it. Energy goes where the risk is manageable. The real risk is never engaged. The person who has read about this pattern and now uses the vocabulary to describe their own stillness is perhaps the most trapped. They believe that naming is moving. They believe that awareness is progress. They have built a small museum around their recognition, and they charge admission in conversations. But the mechanism does not care that it has been identified. The mechanism runs on something older than language. The recognition becomes another form of not speaking, another form of watching, another form of waiting until the moment has passed. From outside the mechanism, what is most striking is not how often it fails people. It is how reliably it protects them from finding out. The cost is not the obvious cost. The cost is not the missed opportunity or the unsent email. The cost is identity. The cost is who you believe yourself to be versus who you are when no one is asking. The person who believes they are direct, they are honest, they are brave, because they perform those qualities in safe arenas. The person who does not notice that their directness only operates where there is no price, that their honesty is a selection, that their bravery is choreography. The relationship cost accumulates in years, not events. The partner who learned that your stillness meant they would never know what you actually felt. The colleague who stopped bringing you information because they understood you would not act on it until the acting was consequence-free. The friend who realized your loyalty was perfect in absence and unreliable in presence. None of this happens in a single moment. There is no story to tell. There is only the gradual understanding that your presence does not function as presence. It functions as observation. It functions as documentation. It does not function as participation. The late recognition comes in a specific form. It comes when the quiet person finally acts, and the people around them are surprised. When the held line reveals itself, and someone says, "I never knew you felt this way." The quiet person hears this as accusation disguised as observation. They want to say, "You never asked." But this is not true. People asked. The quiet person was present for the asking. They simply did not answer. They were not withholding for effect. They were withholding because answering would have required a self they had not constructed. A self that could be located in real time. A self that could be injured. Awareness of this pattern rarely changes it. The person who recognizes their own stillness does not become loud. They become still in a new way. They become still about the recognition itself. They add another layer of observation. They watch themselves watching. They believe this is movement. It is not movement. It is the pattern's defense against interruption. The rare exception is not the person who learns to speak. It is the person who learns that speaking does not require certainty, that the sentence does not need to be complete before it is spoken, that the calculation can be interrupted by the action it was supposed to precede. This exception is rare because it requires the quiet person to tolerate being wrong in public, to tolerate the visible mistake, to tolerate the form of threat they have spent a lifetime learning to avoid. Most do not do this. Most find new ways to describe the stillness, new justifications, new vocabularies of waiting. The mechanism adapts faster than the person can observe it. The mechanism is not a mistake. It is a solution to a problem that no longer exists, applied to a world that has already moved on. The loud one breaks first. This is what the short version promised, and this is what happens. The loud one exhausts their performance. The loud one reveals the limits of their preparation. The loud one looks around for the quiet one, because the quiet one was the actual preparation all along. The quiet one does not rescue. The quiet one holds the line they already decided was acceptable, the line you did not know existed, because they never performed it for you. You are still thinking of someone else. This is still working. The final cost is this. The quiet person becomes the threat they were watching for, not by intention, by function, by the accumulation of unexpressed position, by the weight of calculation that was never shared, by the moment when compression becomes action and no one has been prepared. The quiet person does not want this. The quiet person did not choose this. But the quiet person also did not choose the alternative. Did not choose the messy, visible, uncertain process of becoming known in real time. The real threat was never the one you could not read. It was the one you could not convince yourself to become.